This video contains explicit content. Viewer discretion is advised. No, seriously, this is your last chance. This is going to get really fucking offensive.
What's going on? Glad to see you. I'm here to tell you some stories.
Square, the people have a voice too.
I think it's awful. I don't think we need them in town.
What's going on? Glad to see you. I know a lot of people got a lot of questions about me, Greg Valentino, and I'm here to tell you some stories. Maybe you'll find my life a little interesting. Let's start off from the beginning. You know what? Check it out. I remember back in like 1972, I was like already naturally built. My friends used to always like talk to me like, oh, you know, you got natural muscles on you. And I was already like, you know, an athlete, you know, playing sports. And I remember I was in a supermarket and they had like a box of Maypole, I think cereal it was.
It's a new breakfast cereal called Maypole. From now on, you're really going to like oatmeal. Take off your hat. The hat.
I want my cowboy hat.
And he had this kid on the cover, almost like Arm & Hammer. And it was like this: I want my Maypole.
I want my Maypole.
And I remember thinking, I'm bigger than that kid. I'm more built than that kid. And believe it or not, I almost got jealous, though, because he was on a box and I wasn't. And that actually got me, like, it tweaked me a little bit. And I had another friend that I was growing up with, was a little bit older than me, say, why don't you come over to my house? Of course, the phone's going to fucking ring while we're talking here. There we go. Anyway, let's get back to my story. So anyway, you know, this kid starts telling me, come over to my house and everything like that. I'll show you how to work out. So I was like intrigued by that. And I remember going over his house. His name is Kevin Carroll. We call him Casey. And so I went over his house. He had pictures of bodybuilders all over the walls. And that's the first time I actually saw who Arnold Schwarzenegger is. And, you know, I was bitten by the bug. I mean, right away. The kid on the Maypole box actually really made me feel like I want to get jacked. So I started working out. My parents were always supportive of anything. My mother loved, you know, like whatever I wanted to do. You know, you're the best. You know, my mother, you know, my father was like, you know, look at you. I mean, what the fuck's wrong with you? I mean, you know, most teenage boys, you walk in their room and you see pictures of girls in bikinis on the wall. He goes, you got fucking men in their underwear. Who's this guy, Arnold Schwarzenegger? That's what we say, call him Arnold Schwarzenegger. Because he's in a, you know, the little posing trunks. And my father'd be like, you got guys in their underwear on your wall. Like, what, are you gay? And I'd say, no, it's that dude. That's Arnold Schwarzenegger, man. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Who's Arnold Schwarzenegger? Because back then, nobody knew who Arnold was. I'd be like, man, that's the greatest bodybuilder in the world. And he'd say, well, why do these guys got to wear like underwears? You know what I mean? I'm like, they're not wearing underwear. He didn't get it, you know? I mean, I had pictures of like, you know, some girls, you know, I had the Farrah Fawcett, I had all that shit on my wall. You know what I mean? But he didn't get it. He only saw the, you know, the bodybuilders. You know, he would have rather seen me have girls in bikinis. Like, you know, I used to go around and I wanted a lot of protein. So I used to drink a lot of milk. I would go to the store and I would get like roast beef sandwiches and roast beef by the pound. And I'd be drinking milk and eating roast beef. And, you know, that used to cause some like nuclear explosions. Inside. My mother would bitch like, I just bought the eggs, where are they? And I'd eat the whole dozen. You know what I mean? You know, that kind of shit. I used to make these things called cake shakes. My mother had a big industrial blender because her mother was a baker, you know, like a baker. And she used to have these big fucking blenders. And I would pour like heavy cream in there. I would pour like a cup of sugar in there. Because back then I didn't know how to get bigger. We used to get fatter and it cut it down. And it get fatter, and it cut it down. I was legendary. Everybody knows me for this. I've talked about it before, but it's called cake shakes. My grandmother was a baker. So we get these big 4-layer cakes like you get in a restaurant or diner, and I would put that in a blender with all that heavy cream and sugar, blend it up, And dude, let me tell you something. I gained like a pound a day. You know, you'd see me a month later, I was like 30 pounds. You know, now, all right, it wasn't all muscle, but let me tell you something. When you're fucking 17, 18 years old, you could eat shit and you really don't get fat. You know what I mean? You know, unless you're one of these guys that has a slow metabolism, you're fucked. But me, no way. And I used to work in a grocery store too sometimes. And I used to fucking go in the back and eat the nutriments. I'd steal the nutriments off the shelves and I'd be drinking them, and you know, it was really fucked up. But anyway, so that's like, all I knew was to fatten up, cut it down. Fatten up, cut it down. I became so obsessed in school with working out. And we're talking the 70s here, because remember, I'm 54 years old now while I'm talking here. I don't look it, but I was probably about now 15. I used to draw on my desk in school, like little pictures of bodybuilders and everything like that. It was insane. I would ask the teacher, can I use the bathroom? I would go in there, and I'd be doing like dips between the sink, like that, you know. I'd be doing dips between the sink and like no weight squats and everything. I'd be in there, like, you know, flexing my traps, you know, trying to get some blood in the muscles. And I go back into class, and the kids would be looking at me like, you know, wow, that must have been some shit he took, because, you know, it took, you know, I was in the bathroom for like 15 minutes. You know, but what I was doing was I was actually doing a little mini workout in the bathroom. When I graduated high school, I'm legendary for I went to Yorktown High School. I graduated in 1979, and I took my clothes off. Let me back that up for a second. I used to go in lunchrooms. Every once in a while, I would get in the lunchrooms. I'd run in the gym part. You know, we had an old Universal. I'd pump up, rip off my shirt, and jump on the lunch tables. I'd be walking on kids' lunches and shit. And I'd be posing, and the rest of the lunchroom would be going crazy. And I was known for that. And then I'd get sent down to the principal's office, and the principal would be like, come on, Valentino, you know, what is this, you know? I mean, and you're talking the 70s when nobody, you know, there were no gyms around or anything. I had to go to a White Plains YMCA, you know, and that's about 25 miles from where I live to even have a shitty barbell club. I was lifting weights in my house. Anyway, come to graduation day. All the kids were like telling me, you gotta do it. You gotta do it. Come on, you did it all through school. You gotta do it again. So when I got up on a podium, I took off my gown, and I had no shirt on under it. And I flipped my hat, my cap, you know, and I got up there and I started posing, and the whole place went crazy. Even my mother was in the front row, like, yeah, you know, rooting me on. My father's like, holy shit, what an embarrassment. I had like long hair and shit, because in the 70s, you know, I looked like Roger Daltrey, long blonde hair and shit. I made it blonde. I used to put peroxide in it, because I was, you know, it's a chick I liked, you know, she liked that shit. Anyway, after that, they made a rule in my high school that anybody pull any stunt at graduation, you don't graduate, you don't get your diploma. But I was the first. My mother was supportive. My father was somewhat supportive, you know. He was he's an athlete, a man's man, you know. He just thought, like, you know, go play football. You know, what are you doing, you know? And I did play football. I won I won the President's Athletic Award 2 years in a row, you know, with President Nixon and all this other stuff. That's how old I am. And MVP awards in baseball, football. I got all kinds of athletic, you know, awards. But bodybuilding, once you're bit by that fucking bodybuilding bug, because you carry muscle wherever you go, you know what I mean? And because I'm shorter, you know, everybody always wanted to pick the big kid to play on the sports team. So I said, you know, fuck, I'm better than him. You know what I mean? It's a funny story, because when I first got on a football team, my father's he's sick fuck. He's 87 years old. Dude, he's like insane, you know, with the New York Giants and Jets, both. When I first got on a team, I was a little bit of a wise ass, you know, and I kind of came to practice late. One of those guys, I'd show up in work boots and shit, and the coach would be, dude, are you ready to play? What are you doing? So me and the coach didn't hit it off. So he benched me, right? Now, all through Pop Warner, I was the best kid in the league. I was, you know, I'm a fast runner, the whole bit. So, you know, my father was like really pissed. So we were at Portchester High School, and my father was standing, you know, where the parents stand behind the fence. And my coach had benched me and wasn't playing me. And he was playing this little fucking pussy I went to high school with in my, you know, it's a tailback, in my fucking position. So I got really mad. Me and the coach started arguing, and I spit, and I threw my helmet towards his feet. You know what I mean? I was like, fuck you. You know what I mean? You know, I taste blood in my mouth, and you got me sitting on a bench. You got that pussy in there, and the coach goes to me, that's it, you're off the team. You're done. You're no longer playing for us. My father jumps over the fence, grabs the coach, right? And all of a sudden, all these football players are fucking hitting my father with the football helmet because they're trying to get him off. I'm fighting my own players now. You know what I mean? I'm fucking over there fighting guys and my friends, and we're beating them. And there's a big melee. And the coach got out of it and ran in the bus. And my father broke away. My father goes over to where the bus is, and he punches the fucking door. Bang! And breaks the door. Grabs the coach, knocks him to the ground, and the coach is threatening my father. I'm going to sue, I'm going to have you arrested. Cops come, take my father away. But here's the kicker to the story. My father grew up in Portchester, New York, and the chief of police grew up with my father. So they let my father go. The school put me back on the team, and the next game, we played Mamaroneck. The coach actually benched me for the half of the game, and this pussy was getting slammed. And I was just sitting there fucking like, you know, fuck this shit, you know? And then he put me in, and I played with hatred. I mean, I played with fun. And they couldn't stop me. I was an animal. And the coach said to me, you know what, Valentino, I made a mistake about you. So what I'm trying to say to you is, those kind of things happened to me, you know, my whole life. And I wound up being the best kid on the team. You know what I mean? I was an animal. So being short and I took it, that mentality is what made me get like really big, because I felt like, fuck this, if I can't grow taller, I'm going to grow wider. And she was like, they're getting violent. I don't know if I should be here. These guys are like, they're crazy. So she goes over there and she goes by the water fountain, and son of a bitch, one of the Barbarian brothers goes over to the water fountain to get a drink, and he throws up. And he throws up right in front of her.